Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Kelly Greene, Minister of Emergency Management and Climate Readiness. We are here on the traditional territory of the Coast Salish people, the Squamish, Musqueam, and Tsleil-Waututh peoples. I'm joined by Minister Ravi Parmar, Minister of Forests, and today we'll be providing an update on the wildfire situation. As of this morning, there are approximately 400 homes under evacuation order and 700 under evacuation alert. And this has been a very challenging week for people who have been asked to leave their homes and be ready to leave their homes at a moment's notice. The province is here and ready to support you. We are facing some challenging wildfires throughout the province, including in the regional district of Bulkley-Nechako. But most of the active evacuation orders and alerts are due to the Wesley Ridge wildfire in the regional district of Nanaimo. The Regional District of Nanaimo has established a reception center to support people who have been evacuated, and a group lodging site is available to make sure that everyone has a safe place to evacuate to. Additionally, financial supports are available for people who are evacuated and need help meeting their basic needs. Emergency support services can help people with their accommodation, food, and incidental costs. Accommodation allowance and other supports are available via e-transfer by registering online at ess.gov.bc.ca. Evacuees can also receive supports in person by visiting the Evacuee Reception Centre or by phoning the BC Evacuation Helpline at 1-800-387-4258. I want to thank everyone who has been evacuated, who is evacuated when advised to do so, and those that are prepared to leave at a moment's notice. Yesterday, I had the honor of spending time at the Regional District of Nanaimo's Emergency Operations Centre and the Coastal Fire Centre. It was inspiring to see the passion, the dedication, and the empathy of all those who are working together to respond to the fire and support people who are needing help. Their commitment to supporting and protecting and supporting people was incredible to see firsthand. And I'd like to thank the local governments and First Nations, the BC Wildfire Service, firefighters, emergency management personnel, and staff from various ministries who worked tirelessly over the long weekend to keep people safe. We know that we still have challenging weeks ahead for this year's wildfire season, and the province remains committed to supporting people. As always, I want to encourage people to stay alert and be prepared, and take the time today to create a household emergency plan. Have a grab-and-go bag ready for you, your family members, and even your pets, and make sure that you have the insurance coverage that you need and know how to access that coverage so that you can have peace of mind when you need it most. Lastly, I know that British Columbia is a beautiful place to explore for locals and tourists. Our communities and natural wonders are ready to welcome you for a visit. I encourage people to get outdoors and experience all that BC has to offer. And at the same time, it's also important for locals, travelers, and tourists to understand the wildfire risks in the areas that you're visiting and the wildfire risks in the area that you're traveling through. To stay informed on evacuation orders and alerts across the province, visit emergencyinfobc.ca. And to learn of any road closures, delays, or conditions, visit drivebc.ca. And to prepare for hazards of all kinds, visit preparedbc.ca. I want to thank everyone for doing their part in being prepared, informed, and alert. I'll now invite Minister Parmar to have a few words.
Thanks very much, Kelly, and good morning, or I should say good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ravi Parmar. I have the pleasure to serve as British Columbia's Minister of Forests and the Minister responsible for the BC Wildfire Service. Pleased to join my colleague in providing an update on the 2025 wildfire season. First off, I want to join Minister Greene in acknowledging the challenges people and communities are facing with wildfires. It's an extremely difficult time, especially for those who've had to leave their homes. My heart goes out to everyone in this situation. Since my last update a week ago, many parts of British Columbia have certainly seen an uptick in wildfire activity. As predicted, recent summer storms led to nearly 70,000 lightning strikes in the past week, which has led to a sudden increase in the number of wildfires. As of this morning, there are 120 active wildfires across the province of British Columbia, including 12 that have started in the last 24 hours and 27 that were declared out in the same period. There is one wildfire note, and that is the Wesley Ridge wildfire, which we'll touch on in a moment. In total, there have been just over 850 wildfires started this year. In comparison, last year at this time, we were just over 1,000. One of the wildfires we've been focused on is the Wesley Ridge wildfire near Cameron Lake on Vancouver Island. As of this morning, the fire remains at 538 hectares in size. This fire is burning on steep and challenging terrain, and the BC Wildfire Service has deployed heavy equipment, helicopters, air tankers, structure protection, and over 200 personnel. This includes the incredible structural firefighters deployed in coordination with our BC Wildfire Service crews that are working right now as we speak to protect homes, properties, and the Highway 4 corridor. I want to remind everyone to keep clear of waterways in the area so the aviation crews can do their work safely. The Wesley Ridge fire is not the only wildfire we've been responding to this week. The BC Wildfire Service has been responding vigorously to wildfires throughout the province. Over 85 air tanker missions have been flown in the last week, and initial attack units have been getting fires out before they grow. Thanks to the quick, effective action from our BC Wildfire Service crews and local firefighters, we've been able to contain 85% of the fires this season to 4 hectares or less. Heavy equipment and structure protection crews have been working to keep homes and businesses safe wherever they are threatened. There are nearly 800 BC Wildfire Service personnel and local contractors engaged in the firefighting effort. And although conditions have helped keep wildfires in check this summer, I think it's fair to say it's important to recognize the hard work, the planning, and the investments that have been made a big difference in this year's wildfire season. In the days ahead, there's some relief coming to parts of the province. Cooler temperatures are expected, and we'll see some rain in southern BC. I know I certainly saw some rain on Vancouver Island on my way heading over here. However, this past week has been a reminder of how fast our wildfire situation can change. It is vital that we take all the necessary steps to remain prepared and that we continue to do our part to prevent human-caused wildfires. This past weekend, Conservation Office Service issued 26 violation tickets for illegal campfires in the Coastal Fire Center. That's unacceptable. This kind of activity puts people and livelihoods at risk. We have to do better. Please stay vigilant and follow the fire prohibitions in your area. Please continue to report wildfires using the Wildfire app or by calling star 5555 from a cell phone. We've also seen an increase in AI-generated images of wildfires, which is concerning. This kind of misinformation puts people and communities at risk, and I urge everyone to be careful about sharing this content as well as what they see online. You can find more information about prohibitions, evacuations, driving conditions, and the current wildfire situation on the BC Wildfire Service app or the website as well. Lastly, I'll just end with this. I want to thank the hardworking BC Wildfire Service crews for all their work and dedication. Over 80% of the wildfires this year are considered out or contained. That's an extraordinary testament to the work of our wildland firefighters, local fire departments, and all of our partners. But we still have several weeks left in the core of this wildfire season. We all have a role to play in protecting ourselves and our communities. We need to stay informed. We need to be prepared. We need to be fire smart. Continue to listen to local authorities. Our work is about the safety of our families, our communities, and the province we all love. Thanks very much, and I'll turn it back over to Minister Greene.
Thank you, Minister Parmar. I will turn it over to the moderator for questions.
To the media on the line, please press star 1 to enter the queue. You'll have 1 question and 1 follow-up. We will start with Mark Page from Black Plus Media. Mark, go ahead. Mark?
I don't know if this is Mr. Parmar, you just mentioned it, but maybe if you could talk a little bit more about this AI-generated images that that you've been seeing or that I've been seeing online? Like, what's the purpose behind this stuff, and what's the government doing about this? And what, how
Mark, you've cut out. Mark, if you can just repeat the question, that would be great.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. If you want to start all over again, that would be great. Go ahead.
Sure. Yeah, I was just hoping that Minister Parmar could expand on his comments about the problems with AI-generated images and misinformation online. Just maybe a bit more about what the purpose behind some of these images are, what kind of images you're seeing the provincial government is doing to combat this misinformation.
Sure. Thanks, Mark. Thanks for the question. Look, I think there's a desire from all British Columbians to want to do their part to share information. When a wildfire occurs in a community or any type of disaster, we often go to social media. We often go to text message chains and families. I know that my family has a text chain that we use throughout the day to be able to keep ourselves updated on what's going on in our world. And I think in this instance, what we are sharing and what we are hoping British Columbians will keep in mind is that it's really important to look where you get your information from. We've taken a number of steps over the last number of years to continue to update the BC Wildfire app. There's a level of transparency that has increased over the last number of years to the tune of providing regular updates on the size of hectares, providing photos and videos of fire. And so the message that I have to British Columbians is please be cautious of where you get your information. Be aware of AI-generated content. And if you want to know where you can get the best information, the most up-to-date information, the BC Wildfire app is a place to go.
Mark, do you have a follow-up?
Sure. Obviously, you mentioned that, how many fires have been, held to 4 hectares or less this year. And, maybe you could talk a bit about what new technologies are being deployed, specifically, there's expanded use of night vision technologies to battle fires at night and how much of an impact this is having.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. I think it's having a huge impact. I really got a lot of pride in Cliff and the team at the BC Wildfire Service. Many would expect when the wildfire season is over, they're taking a long break. They're not. They're preparing for the next wildfire season. And again, utilizing world-class technology here in British Columbia. We have a predictive services team that I'm sure Cliff can talk more about that provides a real good sort of data collection to be able to help inform the decisions we make. But as it relates to technology, some of it's really simple. It's making sure that we've got contracts on the ground. We've got a heavy strike team that we're deploying in 2 parts of the province that utilizes forestry contractors to help support the work that we do. I shared a number of weeks ago that we've got a great partnership with UBC Okanagan to use wildfire detection cameras. We're going to be deploying those across the province over the next number of years to be able to better support. Maybe I'll turn it over to Cliff to fill in the gaps on some other things that the BC Wildfire Service is up to.
Yeah, thank you very much for the question, Mark, and Minister, for your response. Just to go a little bit deeper into the night vision technology, as well as a couple others. One of the pieces for us is as our fire seasons have become increasingly more challenging tactically for us to suppress fires during the heat of the day. Many in BC realize that we're starting to break temperature records every year. We're seeing our fuels are drier than they've ever been before. And we have had a few press conferences this year about the drought situation in BC. And all of that together really culminates in the fire environment as more aggressive fire behavior, longer firefighting seasons, and sometimes fires that are very difficult to suppress during the heat of the day. Night vision has allowed us the ability to really step up our night operations game, which we have always fought fire at night. We had just never done it before with aviation resources, which is a critical step in our process at actively suppressing wildfires. And so having this fleet of aviation resources with our own staff that can use night vision technology to identify hotspots, but more importantly, to be able to drop buckets of water on those hotspots to protect people's homes, to protect the forest, has really given us a leg up when it comes to our firefighting tactics and allowed us to really expand the successful suppression efforts that we use on the ground. In addition to that, we've also evolved our air tanker fleet over the last couple of years using more modernized technology, including the technology they have on board, but also I would say diversifying our fleet, ensuring that we have both amphibious aircraft that can both drop retardant as well as scoop water off of large water bodies like Okanagan Lake, as we saw last week, as well as more aircraft in our system. So we have more air tankers in our fleet than we've had before. In addition, we have more helicopters in our fleet that we have had before, including the night vision ones. Minister Parmar talked about this, the investment in technology. Part of the work that we do is science-based. We utilize the numbers, which we've talked about in some of our more technical briefings, like fine fuel moisture code, Duff moisture code, to really identify where our problem areas are within BC so that we can prepare the right amount of resources for potential fires. And that's what we've seen in the last 7 days, as we saw this huge increase in heat and relative humidity, the dryness going down, and us being in the teens for percentages. It's really allowed us the investment in that software to say, we need to have resources at the ready here, here, and here, so that if we get lightning, which we've seen a significant amount of in the last few days, we are at the ready to respond. And obviously the final piece I want to touch on, which is a kudos to the public. As we've updated our wildfire app, one of the things we've updated in that is the ability for the public to report a fire through that app. Inclusive in that is the ability to post a picture with the fire report. That does a tremendous amount of good for our decision makers who have to decide on some days where we get thousands of calls, which ones are not real, but which ones might pose the most significant risk to communities. Pictures, as it's said for a lot of years in my childhood, are worth 1,000 words. And so we really appreciate the public's help in identifying those fires, reporting those fires, and attaching photos, as it makes our job a lot easier. So that's just a few. We can name more offline if you'd like additional information, but thank you for the question.
Our next question is from Alyssa Thalbert, Global News. Alyssa, go ahead.
Oh, hi, team. This is probably for Cliff Chapman as well. I was just wondering if you could elaborate a little bit more on how dry a lot of the conditions are, because a lot of people are going to be looking out their window today and seeing rain. And if you could just kind of explain what has led up to the conditions being so dry right now and what the current situation is.
I'll turn that over to Cliff.
Yeah, thank you for the question. And I mean, there's a lot that could go into this answer. I'll give you the condensed version. Is over the last 7 days, we have seen significant drying in most of the province, particularly in the southern half of the province. And when we see temperatures that go above 35 degrees, generally that's connected with relative humidity dropping below 20%. We call that a crossover condition day. And what that means is when the temperature is higher than the relative humidity, just as a rule of thumb, when it comes to wildfire and wildfire suppression, those are days that have the potential for fires to really grow. Those are days that have the potential for spread. Now, if you put that up against the long-term landscape and the fuel conditions, we've been talking for the last number of weeks about the drought conditions in BC. There's obviously general drought, and then for us, we have what's called fuel drought. So what is the wetness of the fuel? Being trees, grasslands, et cetera. And what we've experienced with the broader drought is that our fuels are also very dry. And so it takes less heat and it takes less of those crossover days for us to get to a place where fires have high potential to spread. I think this year, and it's worth noting, relative to 2023 and 2017 and 18 and 21, some of our more devastating fire seasons we've experienced is that we haven't had the prolonged heat wave, the prolonged heat dome. We have been very fortunate as an agency and as a province that when we get our hot 35 degree plus weather, we're only seeing that for 5, 7, maybe 9 days. And then we're fortunate, as you said, when people look out their windows today, they see that there's precipitation in the system. To answer your question, the challenge is it's not enough. So what it does is it resets our conditions, but only at a very micro scale. So we get a couple of days to really actively use direct attack on our fires, really meaning that we're tight to the edge of the fire and trying to stop it from going any further. It gives us the ability to do that, but it doesn't knock down the hazard for the whole province for the rest of the fire season. And what we're not experiencing many of the last few years is that we're not seeing what we would call a season-ending rain event. Which historically, and I've been in wildfire for almost 25 years, for 20 of those years, we often would see a season-ending rain event that would say, really, we don't have much hazard left. We might pick up the odd fire. We don't see those as frequently anymore. And generally now we're waiting for that seasonal shift from summer to fall and then fall to winter. And we're not seeing that late August sort of rain event that knocks down the hazard for the rest of the year. So that's why we continue to be in this kind of up and down cycle this year of we're active, we're quite busy, we've got lots of resources working, to now we've got a little bit of rain, we have the ability to suppress fires, and then we get active with the heat again. So hopefully that answers your question.
Alyssa, do you have a follow-up?
Yes, thank you. That was great. Just in terms of the current the fire situation, I know we talked to Minister Parmar has talked a bit about the wildfire of Note in Nanaimo being a big focus right now. Are there any other kind of concerning spots around the province at the moment?
I'll turn that over to Cliff. Thank you.
Sorry, could I just get you to repeat the question? I just missed the tail end of it.
Yeah, so obviously the wildfire of Note near Nanaimo is a big focus right now. Are there any other areas in the province that are of concern or that are of great priority for BC Wildfire right now?
Yeah, great question. We talked a little bit about the rain that's here today, and we'll get a little bit more tomorrow. Before Friday, we're going to see, what we call a ridge, a high pressure system building back in. It's going to bring us back into those higher temperatures, probably in the low 30s. Unfortunately, the rain that we're going to see, and we are seeing right now, is not going to hit the northeast of the province. So our Prince George Fire Center, that has been working tirelessly really for the better part of 3 years, continues to see that they're just missing those significant rain event days like we're seeing even right now in the southern half of the province. So there is concern in Prince George, in the northeast of their fire center, as well as in the southwest in what we call the kind of the Nadina zone. There's a couple fires there that you can see on our app that are a little concerning, and we obviously are actively sending resources to those fires. Beyond that, I think what we're going to see is when we get back into this drying trend starting over the weekend, really the whole south is going to heat up again, and there's going to be the potential for those valley bottom fires that are going to be, they're going to pop up with all this lightning that we've had. And so there is no place in BC this year, and frankly, probably any year, that is going to be safe from the threat of wildfires. But fortunately, with our increases, as I answered on a previous question about our increases in investments in technology, is we feel we are better prepared than we ever have been to address those starts when they come. So in terms of the rest of August and even into September, I wouldn't say there's anywhere in BC that I would say there's no hazard left there. So to answer your question, it's a bit broad. I would say the whole province, but specifically right now, Northeast, the island, and the mainland coast are probably where the hazard will hold through these couple days of precipitation.
Our next question is from Lucas. Renee, go ahead. CBC Vancouver.
Hi there. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Wondering why platform and associated coordination roles halted, or why were they? And are there plans to bring the program back?
Sorry, I missed the beginning of that question.
Why were the emergency accommodation booking platform and associated coordination roles halted? And are there plans to bring the program back?
I'm going to assume that you're asking about the hotel booking portal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So we did do a trial of the BC Hotel Association portal, and we, in the meantime, have changed our supports for people to include a direct $200 e-transfer so that people can choose the accommodations that suit them best. We saw in the 2024 wildfire season that about 2/3 of people opted for the $200 amount, that it met their needs better. And so we're seeing less stress on reception centers trying to find accommodations. And so we are continuing to work with Hotel Association in making sure that we're supporting tourism and that we're supporting people who are being evacuated.
Great. I suppose this is for Cliff, if Minister Parmar would like to weigh in as well. In a Facebook post, the BC Conservation Officer Service has issued around 16 campfire ban violation fines, totaling over 30,000 over the long weekend. Wondering if you have any thoughts or comments you'd like to share regarding campfires and the ban.
I'll pass that to Minister Parmar.
I'm sure Cliff's got some thoughts on this as well, who's someone who's working very hard with his crews to help fight fires. Look, my message to British Columbians is please follow prohibitions. I recognize that it's a lot of fun to be out there, going out camping, enjoying the great outdoors. We want you to continue to do that, whether you're on the island, in the interior, or up in the north. But for those that are going to break the rules and are going to start campfires, please know that the BC Conservation Office Service is going to be looking out and finding you. And I think the work that the Conservation Office Service has done over this past weekend to find, I think, nearly 30 people and fine them about $1,150 a piece, I hope, will send a very strong message that we all have a role to play. Our wildland firefighters are doing their part. They're working hard every single day, all day long, to help protect people and help protect communities. We all have a role to play in every corner of this province. We have to be informed, we have to be prepared, and we have to be fire smart. And if you live in much of the Coastal Fire Centre, there are prohibitions like not having a campfire ban. We would ask that you follow those rules.
Our next question is from Ashley Janot, Canadian Press. Ashley, go ahead.
Hi, thank you. A lot of my questions have already been answered, but I'm wondering if anyone can tell me, with regards to the Wesley Ridge fire, can you tell me whether any structures or homes have been lost in the fire to this point?
Thanks so much for the question. At this time, no homes have been lost. And we know that it is very important for the surrounding communities as well to make sure that Highway 4, which is critical infrastructure, is functional for travel. And so the local authorities, the District of Nanaimo, the Wildfire Service, and AMCR, Ministry of Transportation, all working together to make sure that we've got rapid communication on what the current conditions are, updating Drive BC, Emergency Info BC, so that people can get up-to-date information there. And I'll turn it over to Cliff for an update on other structures that might be impacted.
Yeah, thank you, Minister. And to echo your point, no, there haven't been any structures impacted. But I do think the fire, Wesley Ridge, as well as Peachland, as well as many of the fires we've experienced this fire season, do signal and I think are very significant in the form of really diving into Fire Smart and Fire Smart principles as individual homeowners and property owners. And you can go to firesmartbc.ca and there's lots of tips and tricks on what you can do to Fire Smart your property and work as a neighborhood and even as a community. And I think as we continue to experience these fire seasons, whether they're 2023 historic or 2025, where we're seeing some of these community impacts, we all have a role to play. And obviously we're going to continue to respond and try to work through our prevention team to make BC safer, but we're also want to work with the public and homeowners and landowners on doing the same thing so that we can all work together, much like we do in response and like we are doing in response right now. So encourage everybody to visit firesmartbc.ca. And at this time, yeah, like a minister said, there haven't been structural impacts that we're aware of to primary residences, but that is certainly a possibility, as we've seen in BC many times over the last number of years.
Ashley, do you have a follow-up?
No, I'm fine. Thank you.
Our next question is from Mike Hager, Globe and Mail. Mike, go ahead.
Hi, this one is for Minister Greene. Your federal counterpart has said that the government, Ottawa, will be announcing a new agency of some kind to respond to wildfires. What would BC like to see from that?
Probably Minister Parmar. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Minister Greene. Thanks, Mike. We'll certainly keep comprised. I would say in my conversations with Minister Tim Hodson, who's the Minister of Natural Resources Canada, there's always a desire to support. We do have an interagency organization nationally that helps support coordination between all the different provinces and territories. In terms of our asks of Ottawa, continues to be supports for emergency preparedness, for wildfire mitigation work, and we would certainly welcome any further dollars and any further commitments from the federal government to help support us here in British Columbia. And I'm sure my colleagues across the country, in particular in Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Alberta, and Ontario, would share that message as well.
Mike, do you have a follow-up?
Yes. There was a study last month from UBC saying that clear-cut logging can make catastrophic floods up to 18 times more frequent, and that flooding has been linked to droughts in the summer as well. What is your ministry doing to coordinate kind of the management of forests better to improve kind of wildfire seasons?
Thanks, Mike. I would say at the outset, the clear-cut logging that I think people would assume is leading to that is 1950s style harvesting in British Columbia and much of Canada. I don't think that's happening here in British Columbia anymore. We lead with world-class silvicultural practices. One of the things that I had an opportunity to do in the last number of weeks was get a briefing from the Forest Practices Board of British Columbia. They put out a study talking about the role that wildfire mitigation can play in forestry. We have accepted all of their recommendations, are working hard to implement them over the next number of days, weeks, and months ahead. But I would say at the outset that we have world-class silvicultural practices. There's always room for improvement. And I would say that many of the companies and licensee holders here in British Columbia are continuing to adopt practices. They have agrologists that are on board, biologists, as well as foresters who are leading the way. And I'm particularly proud of the work they're doing in every corner of this province.
Our next question is from Adam Chan, Check News. Adam, go ahead.
Oh, hi there. In regards to the Wesley Ridge fire, I know it's in some steep and challenging terrain. Just wondering if there's been any reports of firefighters injured or anything like that?
I'll turn that over to Cliff.
Yeah, thanks for the question, and certainly appreciate the questions about our staff and their health and safety. It's something that we focus on significantly at BC Wildfire Service. That fire is in a particularly steep valley. You know, we have our incident management team, one of our 5 incident management teams out there. They prioritize safety of obviously our responders, also the community that is there, and any contractors that are working for us. So, you know, often we do see on these fires, on any of our fires that have a significant amount of people, we may see some minor injuries. But on that fire, there haven't been any significant injuries reported that I'm aware of at this point. We can follow up after the call and make sure that that's accurate. But, you know, we prioritize safety when we're fighting these fires, in particular when we're in these steep valleys that have the mountainous terrain that our firefighters are up and down multiple times a day. So I appreciate the question. I know our people appreciate that question because they are working tirelessly to try to protect communities when these fires happen, and their safety is paramount.
Adam, do you have a
Yeah, I noticed today Island Health put out a warning about smoke sort of in that wildfire region. Wondering if smoke and air quality concerns are an issue across BC or this area specifically.
Yeah, for wildfire smoke, there's a number of things that people can do. One of them is to be inside with your windows and doors closed. If you have a HEPA air filter or other air filtration systems in your home, such as a heating or cooling system, you can turn those on. For people that don't have those options available to them, they can go to a public facility like a library, community center, an indoor mall, and have some respite there. We will continue to update people on air quality concerns, as well as information from the Health Authority.
Thank you, and that concludes today's event.
Thank you.